Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So let's do one more round of Satsang. So let me start with this prayer. Ya kundendu tushar har dhavala, ya shubhruvastravrita, ya veena vardand mandit kara, ya shvet Padmasana, Ya Brahmachyut Shankar Prabhritibhi, Devai Sada Vandita, Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Nishesh Jangyapaha. Yeah, so Happy Navratri, Chati Navratri to everyone. So today, we'll talk about something very interesting. So today I'm going to talk about the design of our subtle body. So design of human's subtle body. And it's a big topic. So today I'm going to be talking at a fairly high level. So I'll talk about a few things. One, just the basic shape, then from the outlines, I'll go to a bit more detail in terms of the design of the subtle body. Then I'll talk about two applications, one in the modern life sciences and the second in our Vedic tradition. And then I'll leave a quiz question for all of you for the next video when I talk on this topic. And finally, I'll talk about few lectures or few talks that I've really enjoyed in last 10 days or so. I really wanted to mention them. So these 4-5 topics I'll talk about. So let's start with the shape of the subtle body. So you all know, right, that in our Vedic tradition we have multiple layers of our body. One, we have this physical body, sthul sharir. Underneath that or within it, we have subtle body. So, and then within that we have causal body. And then when our soul gets out of that, then that is the Mahakaran. That's the Brahman. That's the ocean. So subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, is a real physical body inside this body that exists. You will not find it anywhere, but more or less I think it has been destroyed. That knowledge and information has been destroyed for some very important reasons, mostly not to help humans. But I'll talk about that at some other time. But that knowledge is probably one of the most important knowledge for humanity to understand the design of the subtle body. That's the very essence of life, understanding life as we exist. And that information has been destroyed. But with the grace of Sri Ramakrishna and Krishna and Jagdamba and Shiv Shambhu Bholanath, maybe we can get some of that back. So see, shape of the subtle body is like an oval, like egg-shaped. So we all have heard Brahmand, right? So Brahm, which is that Brahman, and And means like the egg-shaped, oval-shaped. That's exactly what the shape of the subtle body is. Okay. So then you would ask a normal question, a genuine question will be, okay, but our body doesn't look like egg-shaped. We have hands and feet and head and neck. How come it's egg-shaped? So we just have to use some of our imagination and mechanical engineering to see when, sometime kids go to a fair, or sometime if, kids are having their birthday party, they invite someone who makes toys out of balloons. So what that person does is that person blows a balloon and then pinches that balloon here and there, and with that balloon, he makes like human shape or animal shape. So we just have to, exactly like that, we have to use the imagination, our body, So if you really think of on that line, you will see that actually our body is like an oval shape, like the shape of an egg. And okay, so that's the design. That's the overall shape of our subtle body. Okay, and then we go a little further. So what's the design? So see, Sri Ramakrishna has told us that that the subtle body is just like a pillowcase. It's just like a pillowcase. It's like a sheet. It's like a sheet that goes all along the body. A lot of in many yogic traditions, you will see great yogis talk about different yogic experiences, and all that is possible because of the shape of the body and its nature as a very thin sheet that goes throughout the body. It's like a pillowcase. Sri Ramakrishna also talks about this example time and time again of a coconut, dry coconut or dry betel nut, when in the beginning that coconut and the coconut cover are attached, same with the betel nut, but after the fruit is dried up, they separate. That means there is a layer, there is a separation between two layers. That's what he's saying. So similarly in our this body, physical body, there is a very thin sheet-like thing that goes all through the body. Okay, and the body is like oval egg-shaped. So it's like an egg-shaped sheet. Okay, and then that sheet is not like not one layer of, let's say, pillowcase, one layer of clothes. It's made in layer after layer, layers after layers, and those layers are not going all the way from one end of the oval to the other end. It's more like it's looped, like I've talked in the design of the man. It's like a nested Russian dolls. So it loops around, those nested Russian dolls on their outer surface. So think of a thin sheet, which is nested, on the Russian overdolls, Russian dolls, outer surfaces. So it becomes almost like a 3D printed, where you just lay one layer on top of other at a very, 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 very thin but very large number of those layers. That's exactly how that subtle body is. All right, so these are the three things. One, its shape is oval. Second, it's like a very thin sheet. And third, those sheets are layered. And then those layers, they differ in the length. It's like a Russian doll. It starts all the way from the bottom of the oval, and then it loops around the Russian dolls, as I've talked in the other video. All right, that's the overall design of the subtle body. If you look at a human body, I'm telling you, if you just, if one fills that human body, let's say takes out the skin and fills it up with air, it will become an oval shaped. Just have to use the imagination. So from Mooladhara to the Sahasrara, the Brahmarandra, it becomes like a one balloon. And then you see how those toy sellers, they just pinch here and there in 4 places, and they just pull the balloon in 4 corners, and it becomes, it takes the shape of a human. And then they pinch the top, and then that becomes a head. That's exactly how it is. If if we just fill up the outer skin of humans with air, hand will disappear, feet will disappear. It will become like a one oval shaped balloon. That's exactly what the shape is, of our subtle body. That's why it's called Brahmand. That's why it's called egg shaped. All right. Okay. I'll be talking a lot more about this. So see, this is the very outline, right? So through this subtle body, there are many things that happen. So this is just the container. Through this container there are many pranas. So there are 10 plus 1, 10 pranas plus 1 more. So that is 11 entries. Then you have man, buddhi. They are the 2 plus. There are so many other individual conscious units like nadis, and of course there is the mother, the Atman, who holds everything together, who is the basis of that subtle body. So that is at some other time, right? So today we learned that it's oval shaped. It's like a thin sheet, but it's layer after layer. All right. Okay. So we'll see, and I'll talk more about it. All the prana and other nadis and different centers, they are all within this. Different. It's just incredible. But this is just the outline. So, but this is not just a mumbo jumbo. It has a real practical application. One in life sciences, and second in our Vedic tradition. So let me just discuss the life sciences first. So if you are not busy meditating for last 3 years, I'm just kidding, you must have heard of this trend of losing weight using medicines like Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy. So they are manufactured by 2 companies. One is Novo Nordisk from Denmark, and other is Eli Lilly from the US. And this is the hottest product in the healthcare industry. So within last 2 years, those 2 companies combined have created more than $1 trillion of value. $1 trillion. I'm not kidding. This is true. And the market capitalization of Novo Nordisk is more than the GDP of Denmark. This is a problem for Denmark economically. So what I'm telling you is, this is a real deal that is happening right now. So we'll talk just about Ozempic. So both of them work in the same way. So what happens is, when people take Ozempic, that medicine, you have to take injection. It's very expensive, probably $1,200-$1,300 per month, and you have to take weekly injections. So what happens is, people lose weight rapidly, and they lose maybe 20% of weight within 6 months. And of course, these companies have created a case, presented to FDA, like how the mechanism, the working mechanism, how it affects. But it's not very clear. I don't think they really understand. They have really made up a case that they understand, but that is not the total understanding, because what they are finding is use of this medicine is leading to many other benefits. So for example, they are finding that use of this benefit is helping with heart health, people with heart problems. Of course, diabetes, because originally these medicines were for diabetes. People, who are having, some people who are having arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, people think it's going to benefit them. People are saying that even in mental health issue, brain issues like Alzheimer's, it might be helpful. People are getting pregnant. It's called what is called Ozempic pregnancy, where people are getting pregnant without expecting, or they were not able to get pregnant, and then they are getting pregnant. People are it's called Ozempic phase. So people are losing a lot of I would say mass or fat or other tissues on their face. So their face skin is kind of becoming very loose. Like it's just, my point is, it's having its effect all over the body, where even the companies did not expect. Like it's going to have effect in so many areas. That's why it is becoming almost like a wonder drug. But the reason why it's happening is because what I just talked about. The human body, or the way human system and the life work, is not exactly like a material science, like we have been treating. We treat this body like a physical machine, like car, but that's not how it works. It's all, unit, which is connected. Everything is connected to everything. It's like a sheet. So when something which is helping with weight, it's also helping with heart, and it's also helping with brain, and it's also helping with other conditions. People think it might even help with cancer, because what's happening is, when people are losing weight, they are cleaning up those layers, that layer by layer. What they have found is, when people lose weight, they lose 2/3 protein and 1/3 is fat, but they gain a lot of weight back if they stop the medicine, and what they gain back is mostly fat. They don't get protein back pretty quickly. So what I'm telling you is, they are not destroying, that medicine is not destroying the layers, but it's cleaning up the layer. And because they are cleaning up the layer, its benefit is appearing in many places. It's all the way from top to bottom. That's what I'm telling you. And that's happening not because of what exactly they are explaining, but because of its effect on the subtle body. See, that's how. Actually, I expected that, earlier last year, I talked to my colleague, my ex-colleague, who is still, working as a fund manager at my previous employer. And at that time, people did not expect that this medicine will work for, like health benefit. It will have health benefit in others. But given my understanding of what I just talked about, it was clear to me, like how it's working. And I expected that, it will have other benefits too, just because of the design of the subtle body. And I don't know what he did, if he bought any stock or not, but I think he does definitely appreciates that I'm not crazy. Takes my words seriously, and 6-7 months later, it came as an article in Wall Street Journal, and I sent it to him that, look, this is what we were talking 6 months ago. And he said, yes, I was just looking at that article and thinking about you. So it is true, that is how exactly our subtle body is designed. Okay. And this is how, see, the whole science of Ayurveda is based on this design of the subtle body. I mean, sadly, that information, that knowledge has been destroyed. And that's why today's, if you go to a Ayurveda doctor today, they'll talk about protein and vitamin and calcium. But that is not Ayurveda. That is like blind leading, the blinds. It's like you should run away from that Ayurveda doctor if they start talking about protein and vitamin. That is not how Ayurveda works. That's not the mechanism for Ayurveda. You should just run away. All right, so that is, it's a real demonstration of this in the life sciences. And I'll be talking about, Ozempic and other weight loss. Those topics are very, very interesting in my other topic that I talk about, Ayurveda. So I'll talk about now its application in our Vedic tradition and just day-to-day living. So see, in our Vedic tradition, everything is designed. Our whole life is designed. Entire society is designed. Keeping this in mind. How do we live a beautiful life with, calm mind joyful mind, good life, without much trouble in life, without much anxiety, fighting in life, and yet live a beautiful life, That's the design of our Vedic tradition, Vedic lifestyle, Vedic society. And one example I'll tell you is, the one thing we do is we touch feet of the elders or the people we respect, right? So the way it works is, when we greet elders or people we respect, we touch the toe of that person with the tip of our finger. We are supposed to touch just the tip of the toe with the tip of our finger, right? And we think people from other cultures or other people, so-called modern people, think that, that is just very too humiliating maybe for their ego. But what's happening here? What's happening is incredible. If you think about what I just talked about, in that egg-shaped subtle body, the tip of the toe and tip of the finger, they are at the same level. Both of them are almost at near the top of that egg-shaped, that oval-shaped subtle body. So two beings, like two living beings, are physically contacting each other, making a connection at the almost highest possible point. Their minds are meeting at almost highest possible point. Although it looks like, right? So socially speaking, it becomes very beautiful. A young kid is going to his grandfather and touching grandfather's feet, and then grandfather can give some blessing, right? So that looks so beautiful, as an activity. But what's happening at the subtle level is both those jivas, they are both individual conscious unit, individual beings. And those jivas are touching each other, making a physical contact at the highest possible point, in their physical body. See, that's the real application. So this is something that, one should think about, that, how beautiful this design is. Both the jivas are making a contact at the highest possible. See, the whole Vedic tradition, right? The Vedic custom, Vedic way of living is designed so that we don't drop our mind to a lower level, maintain our mind at the highest possible level. The whole society should operate at the highest possible level, and also maintain that shitalta, that coolness. And third, to keep our antakaran, our subtle body, as pure as possible. These are the three objectives of every Vedic custom, Vedic tradition, Vedic lifestyle. See, these days, people have forgotten this, so they pay for this, handshakes are very common, but handshake is not a Indian Vedic tradition. See, that's why Namaste, is so nice, because Namaste does two things. Namaste does one, it lifts mind automatically. When people are bringing their both hands to their chest level, it automatically lifts the mind within their body. And second, it also doesn't harm anyone, right? No physical contact. I think people who are deeply spiritually minded, or sadhus and others, I think they should not make any physical contact with anyone, even sadhus to other sadhus. It could be harmful, or people can exploit each other. See, the way it works is, every time there is a connection between two living beings, there is some exchange, and there is no free lunch. So that means if someone is, so what gets exchanged? So two things gets exchanged. One is, see, we all have a supply of what's called amrit. In yogic terms, it's called bindu, or in Ayurveda they call it para ojas. So we all get our daily supply of that, let's say, Amrit within our causal body. And that's what sustains us. And when that starts to run out, we become tired and we need to sleep. That's how it works. So when two bodies, subtle bodies come, even, hand-to-hand contact, the one body, one subtle body has capacity to absorb some of that from the other one, At the same time, one body, we also have impurities, in our body. The things that bind us, it's called mal, Mal is a very technical word which actually binds the body. That's why they call it, it's like a glue, So they say, the source of bal in our subtle body or in our body is called mal. So, they always have that, the source of bal comes from that glue that binds the tissues. That's not very good. For a spiritual person, that is not very good. That's actually, we need to clean out of our system. So that also gets transacted between two contact, right? Between two bodies after contact. So one is good and other is bad. So there is no free lunch, Sometimes people can absorb, a lot of that Amrit, but they can also absorb, a lot of that binding impurity. But we don't know, right? We don't know. So why take risk? Why take risk? These were just part of our living. So sometimes you will see when people are, doing tika, right? When someone is applying tika to their forehead, you will see the person will cover, especially you will see men, will cover the back of their head with their hand. As soon as someone is applying tika, the person will cover the back of the head. Actually, it's not right. They should be covering, the, where the shikha is, where the Brahmarandra is, where, Jewish people covered with their cap, skull cap. Because the reason is, maybe one in, 500,000 person might be able to, suck in, absorb a lot of that Amrit, not from this body, but even beyond the body, the one that is stored outside of this causal body. Just from that contact while doing tika, because that tika is being done, almost above the Agya center, like very close, right, to the Sahasrara. So the people, they don't take chances. They cover their head, back of the head. They should be covering the Brahmarandra, that area near the Shikha. So these things were very widespread, right? This knowledge, it became part of our life because people used to live life at that level, that with that understanding. Now we have remnants of it, but that's the real science behind doing it. But now, because most people are not following it, if you do it, it will feel quite weird. If you are, think you are really a spiritual person, or you have a spiritual interest, or you are a sadhu, no physical contact. That should be a standard policy, no matter what the cost. Because there are criminals, I'm telling you, there are spiritual criminals, they do it intentionally. If someone is really shaking your hand, it takes your hand and keeps your hand like long time, it makes me like creep. If someone, sometimes people shake hand and they just don't let go of the hand. If someone is shaking your hand and you feel like something is biting in your hand, that means that person is really sucking up your bindu, your amrit from, so these kind of things go on. So standard practice should be, for spiritual people, no physical contact. And you'll see, I have a great respect for people who do this actually. I saw in a video, Swami Gautamananda was head of, I think, Chennai's ashram for Ramakrishna mission. I think Narendra Modi had gone to one of their function, I think last year or maybe the year before in Chennai. And on the stage, after finishing his speech, Narendra Modi, extended his hand to Swami Gautamananda to shake hand. And, it really, I was feeling that creep, oh my God, now he has to shake hand. And then what Gautamananda did, he very skillfully took both the hands of Narendra Modi and kind of held it from outside. So not touching palm to palm, but holding his hand, from like back of the hand, back of Modi's hand. You see, that's even that should not be, that put Swami Gautamananda, I think it's named Gautamananda, right? In a very awkward position. It tells you a lot about the king and the sadhu, right? I mean, if a prime minister, if a king extends your hand, extends his hand to shake hand, I think most people will shake that hand. So in my eyes, Swami Gautamananda ji earned a lot of respect. But I think Modi should not have extended his hand, given his yogic background. This is just not fair. So, yeah, just be careful, These days, unless people who are living that kind of life, they practice it with some conviction and confidence, these traditions will not survive. And what will happen will happening is it will harm people. So we have to first, protect these traditions, help people understand why it's important, and then practice it. Then only it will survive and help people over time. Our Vedic tradition is not just fancy of someone. This is based on the real science of our life, the real science of our living. Alright, so today I just talked about the very basic, and I'll be talking a lot more about these things but see, the interesting thing is there is really not that much to talk about. Because this is so simple. This is extremely simple. And really it's not like someone can tweak with this. It is at such a fine level, such a subtle level that it cannot be tweaked. All one can do is a spiritual practice and live kind of a life of a spiritual seeker. That is, what people normally do in our Vedic tradition. So, but in terms of real explaining the design, it's quite simple. It's amazingly simple. That's the beauty of it. All right. So I will end it here by talking about few lectures, that I have watched in last week or 10 days. And I just thought I'll mention them. You might have seen them, or, you might find it interesting. See, when I watch all kind of things. So I have no dogmatic liking or disliking for anything. So I watch, what yogi has to say, or what, people on the path of knowledge have to say, or what bhakta has to say. I watch everything. So what I really enjoy personally is two kind of things. One, if I learn something really interesting, in that video or lecture or speak, whatever. A second, does it have something special going on? Does it have like even if I know it, but has it been said with some conviction? Sometimes you hear something which we already know, but it is said with such a deep conviction that it leaves an imprint which lasts for a while. And then at the end of that, we feel, yes, it was good. I really feel good after listening to this. So these 4 videos that I am going to mention, they fall into one of those two categories, and maybe in both categories. One is, this Swami C. I'll put the link. He had this class on this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and I think this class was not so much on the Gospel itself or Sri Ramakrishna teaching itself. It became almost all the learnings of that sadhu from decades of practice. I really enjoyed that, that 50 minutes. I mean, at the end of it, I felt, oh my God, this was something very special. Other lecture, this Vimohananda of Vancouver. So he started talking about the story of Krishna in Hindi. I really enjoyed it. That was very nice. And then this sadhu, Shivarchanananda ji, he in this lecture he talks about keeping the fire alive. And it is such a beautiful lecture, because what he's doing is he's bringing in a lot of information from the Vedas, on the Vedic practices. And it is done very beautifully. It's like packed with, a lot of interesting facts. And that is not easily available or accessible to normal people. And I really enjoyed it. And the fourth lecture is a lecture on Bhakti Yoga by Divyanandaprana ji. And I really enjoyed that a lot, because I have been watching this videos of Vinod Bihari Baba in Barsana, and he practices this Manjari Bhav. And I watch him because he talks a lot about Chaitanya and earlier Goswamis, Rup Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. It's very difficult to find things about those people, and Vinod Bihari Baba talks a lot about those great people. But I never quite understand what he practices, like what's his practice. I never quite understand. And I understand that he is doing bhakti for Krishna, but I never quite understood it. But in this lecture, Divyanandaprana ji, she is describing different bhav and how to approach different bhav or attitude for bhakti. I thought that was very helpful to me. And so these are the four things I wanted to highlight. I just listen to pretty much anything, anywhere, I find interesting. Of course, I listen to Swami Sir Priyananda ji. See, if one has to say, do we have a spiritual GPT, like Chat GPT, I think that is Swami Sir Priyananda. Because he probably knows pretty much, a lot, because I guess he has read a lot. Of course, I watch like Medhananda and all. See, I'm going to have a special material for Swami Medhananda, probably next couple of videos. I mean, just based on that one material, I think Swami Medhananda can at least write 3 philosophy papers and at least 1 philosophy book. I think that will be, that material will be quite interesting for him. Yeah, and I really think that these lectures that I mentioned and other people, I think they are like really helpful to humanity. Because, and by the way, I listen to like many ISKCON sadhus too, and like I listen to this many other people. I listen to Sri M. His lectures I would like very much. See, I listen to Yogi, Bhaktas, Gyanis, everyone. And in ISKCON I listen to 3-4 sadhus there, and I think some of them are very nice sadhus. So I listen to this young sadhu. His name is Tukaram Das. I'll put a link maybe in some future video. And he's very energetic, very exciting sadhu. I watch him just to see him, and I think his name is Tukaram. It's not Tukaram. See, Tukaram, people of Indian origins, people will understand what Tukaram. Tukka means fluke in Hindi. But this sadhu is not Tukaram. He is like real Tukaram Das. So anyhow, I listen to, there are other 2-3 guys in ISKCON that I listen to. So what I'm saying is these videos are really helpful, because these days it's very difficult to find real high quality stuff from which we can learn. There is a lot of junk that is going around, and we come to know that these are junks very quickly, because there is really nothing new to learn, or people have different agenda, or there is not much conviction in what they are saying, or the backing of their own practice. So that's why I really think these lectures, teachings, they are a real gift, to humanity from these people. All right, so I'll end this here, and we'll talk again after a few days. I hope you guys are having good Navratri, and I'll just end it here with this chant. Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram, Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram. Krishna Krishna Vrindavan Dham, Krishna Krishna Jai Radhe Shyam, Krishna Krishna Vrindavan Dham, Krishna Krishna Jai Radhe Shyam. Ram Krishna Jai Sita Ram, Ram Krishna Jai Radhe Shyam, Ram Krishna Jai Sita Ram, Ram Krishna Jai Radhe Shyam. Alright then, take care. We'll talk again after a few days. Okay then, bye.